16 Afghan civilians allegedly at the hands of a U.S. soldier, then followed by threats of retaliation, has renewed the debate of when U.S. troops should leave Afghanistan. President Obama indicated today the strategy hasn't changed.
Make no mistake, we have a strategy that will allow us to responsibly wind down this war. We're steadily transitioning to the Afghans who are moving into the lead, and that's going to allow us to bring our troops home.
But the ranking member of the Senate Armed Services Committee, Senator John McCain, says the president's rhetoric sends the wrong message to leaders in Afghanistan. Senator McCain joins us now live from Capitol Hill. Senator, how so? How is the president sending the wrong message?
No, he sent the wrong message for a long time. I was glad to hear what he said today, but he doesn't have much credibility anymore in the region because initially for a surge they asked for 40,000. He agreed to only 30,000. They needed the end of another fighting season in order to finish the job in eastern Afghanistan. The president announced an early withdrawal. The military commanders said in testimony that would, quote, increase the risk. Why we would want to increase the risk, one doesn't know. A month or two ago, Secretary Panetta said that, well, more troops would be coming out in 2013, and then that was retracted. Obviously, you just reported there's a debate going on in the White House now as to Vice President Biden, who was dead wrong about the surge and other aspects of national security policy, wants a lot more out and a lot quicker. What signal does that send to the people in the region? That America's leaving, that they can't depend on America, and they can't depend on even finishing the job that and the strategy that General Allen laid out for them. That's what the problem is, John.
You just mentioned General Allen, Senator. Often when we have these debates, people say, well, there's a political debate, maybe it's partisan. Let's let the politicians aside and let's talk to the commanders on the ground to see what they think. Listen to General Allen here talking to my colleague Wolf Blitzer just the other day.
The relationship will only grow stronger between Afghanistan and the United States and Afghanistan and the international community, and the campaign remains on track.
Are you confident, Senator, about that last part? The campaign remains on track. A lot of the American people, as you well know, are pretty tired, and they don't see evidence that this is worth it.
Well, look, I understand the war weariness of the American people. I understand their sorrow and anger at what just happened, and also these killings of American servicemen by Afghans in uniform. This is very tough, and Americans are war weary. But it is the job of some of us to remind people that 9/11 began in Afghanistan. Al-Qaeda and the Taliban could come back, and very likely would, if we left Afghanistan in disarray. And we don't want that to happen. It's not in our national security interest. I think General Allen was talking about his plan. We have had significant success on the ground. But as Ambassador Ryan pointed out, we still have a problem, serious problems with corruption within the Karzai government, the ISI, the Pakistani intelligence, still supporting the Haqqani network, who are killing Americans. But I can tell you from being there that we are sending signals of withdrawal all the time, not signals of staying the course. And I admire our military leadership, but you just reported this debate continues within the White House. What kind of signal does that send to our adversaries?
Well, let me ask you another question, and I call this a generational challenge for the country, and I'm not sure the country's had enough of a conversation, even started the conversation. And we can't connect the dots yet, but we do know the suspect in this shooting had a traumatic brain injury from a vehicle rollover in Iraq. And Senator, I know you visit Walter Reed and other places. I've been to bases around the country, these wounded warrior programs. Do you think that the American people and your colleagues in the Congress understand that for the next 20, 25 years and beyond, there's a moral and it's going to be a pretty big financial obligation into understanding what these brave men and women, whether you supported the wars or not, some of the issues and the trauma they're coming home with?
Well, first of all, the most gratifying part of America today, to me, is that even though Americans may disagree with our engagements in Iraq and Afghanistan, overwhelmingly honor those who serve. That was not the case in the war in which I was in. Look, there are these kinds of injuries and problems associated with every conflict that we've been in. I am confident that the American people will continue their support for these individuals who have served and sacrificed so much.
I want to shift real quickly. It's our big day in presidential politics. 2 southern states voting today. You know what it's like to be a front runner, and you know what it's like to have your opponent say, oh, no way, the math won't add up. He's weak. We can get him. We're going to have a brokered convention, and we're going to catch up to him eventually. I want you to listen here. Speaker Gingrich was on a radio show, I believe it was in Alabama earlier today, and he says this might be the way we get Mitt Romney.
With Rick and me together, we are really slowing him down with some help, frankly, from Ron Paul. And I think if you look at the country sort of saying, by a majority are saying not Romney. The biggest block is saying Romney, but it's not big enough block to be a majority. We now are beginning to think he will literally not be able to get the delegates to get the nomination.
You're a Romney supporter. Will he literally not be able to get the delegates to get the nomination? And can Santorum and Gingrich somehow come together to block him?
I think it's very possible that Mitt Romney may win both Alabama and Mississippi tonight, putting to rest that myth that he can't succeed in southern states. By the way, I'm sure it's because he's grown to like grits and other things. But the fact is that if he wins both of them tonight, I think it sends a signal that he can win anywhere. You and I have been around politics for a long time. Every time when there's been contested races, we've heard the, quote, brokered convention. It's just not going to happen, John.
I'm staying in this business, hoping there might be one eventually, Senator. That's why I stay at this.
It'd be fun to watch, wouldn't it? Yeah.
It sure would be. We'll be up late tonight watching the results. I know you, Bill, as well. Senator John McCain, appreciate your insights tonight, sir. We'll see you soon.
Thanks, John.
And as the Senator noted,